Hi everybody, sorry I haven't been making any videos for a while. I got kind of burnt out on YouTube, but I'm back. I've made a lot of improvements to DataJuggler.Blazor.Components, so this video is a C# Blazor video if you want to learn how to build web apps in Blazor. I've written some stuff that wire up the components, and you don't have to write as much code as you used to. So if you want to stick around, you're going to need Visual Studio 2022, and I'm going to show you how to install a font called ITC Korrina, if I'm saying that right, and it's the font like this. This is like Jeopardy questions. So that's what we're going to do if you want to stick around. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go kind of fast, but everything I'm going to say in the video is right here in GitHub, and I will link to this. So if you rather read, you can do that, or you can just leave a like on YouTube and a star on GitHub, and then go on your way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Code, copy here, and I'm going to go ahead and open up Visual Studio 2022. You can use 26 if you want to. I just haven't had time to upgrade everything. Alright, and I'm going to click on, you'll see this isn't here. I made a take earlier. I'm going to click on Clone a Repository, and I'm going to just change this to my C projects, Not Jeopardy. There. Alright, and I'll go ahead and clone that. Okay. Now once the project is cloned, what we're going to do first though, we're going to go ahead and download the font that we're going to need. So let me come down here. Here's the font right here. Oops, somehow I scrolled back up. There we go. There's the font. Alright, if you come right here and you select download font for free, save as, I'm going to put this in my temp folder. I'm going to open the file in File Explorer. That's a zip file, but I'll go ahead and extract all. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and take the top one here, ITC Korrina bold, and I've already got it installed, but just click install and that'll install the font. So that's all you got to do. I have no affiliation with that site, but it fell off a truck and we just used it. Alright, that's our story. So now I'm going to close this, and I am going back to GitHub. And next we're going to install my Visual Studio package Regionizer. Even if you hate Regionizer, you'll like this for Blazor. This is my only Visual Studio package, so this was the best place to put it. I'll link to this in the description also, but I'm going to go ahead and just copy this, open up Visual Studio 2022 again, click on Clone a Repository, and I'm going to put this also in C Projects. I already have a copy in my C Projects GitHub, but I'll use this one for this demo. Clone. And this has multiple solutions, so it's going to show me a bunch of solutions, and I'm going to go ahead and choose Regionizer. Okay, so once you get this open, the first thing I'm going to show you here is if you want to learn any of the DataJuggler.Blazor.Components, I'm building a form to install this, but for every component, like here's the text box component, there is a text box component and a slim version of the same one, and the slim just has a few less properties. So if you want to, once you know the property names, this project has almost 300,000 installs and only 9 stars. So I'm thinking people don't know how to use it, so I'm trying to make it easier to use. So all you have to do here is like change the caption and the name, and then you can customize it all you want. So what we're going to do next is close that. I just wanted to show you that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to install Regionizer Visual Studio package. So I'm going to just come over here, go to Projects, Regionizer that we just cloned. There's an install directory, and just double click on Regionizer.VSIX. It's going to prompt you which versions. I'm not going to put it in 2026. A new version is coming soon, but I'm going to close Visual Studio because it doesn't like installing packages with that open. Okay, Visual Studio's Regionizer has been installed to that. Alright, so next what we're going to do is open this back up. We're going to open up our project. Oops, I didn't mean to open that. Sorry, that was a misclick. We're going to open up our Not Jeopardy project. Now, right now it's going to be on the main branch. If you look over here, it'll show you master branch. And what we're going to do is, if I just run it, this will run right here without doing anything. So give this just a second. Okay. I do this every single time, but let me close this. Yes, let me stop debugging. I want to change, I'm going to close this. I don't like this little window popping up, and I forget every single time to change that to IIS Express. Let me close this and reopen it, and that seems to go away. I don't know why that happens sometimes, but if you get a weird message, just close Visual Studio. Okay, and we got it set on IIS Express, so we're good. And now we're going to just run the project just to show you it works. Let me make that full screen. Okay, oh, this is the tutorial branch. Hang on, let me see what branch we're on. Okay, I'm on the wrong branch. We're going to go back to master, and I'm going to have to show you how to switch branches here in a second. Curious why I got to do that now, but okay, I'll go ahead and just, let me just run this. Okay, and here I'll just type in, this animal is king of the jungle. Hit create, and it'll create the image instantly just about. And I'll just download this, and I'll just call this lion. Something like that. Okay, or what is a lion to be Jeopardy-like? Alright, so that's the app working. Now we're going to break it. We're going to switch over to the tutorial app branch, which, let me go look at something. Let me make sure where I'm at. Hang on. Let me go open up View, Solution Explorer. Where is this? Okay, this is the full project. That was the reason I'm seeing both branches. Let me open up the correct version. So I'm going to open up Visual Studio again. Sorry, I've got extra versions, but this is the one I want, the one I just cloned. So I'm going to show you how to clone the tutorial branch. I just showed you it works, so I'm not going to bother showing you that again. But what we're going to do next is open up Git, and we'll say New Branch. And all you have to do is click on Based On, and click on Remotes, and select Tutorial. And that'll create a local copy of this. And the local copy, if you go to like View, Get Changes, this will show you which repo you're on. So I just opened the tutorial, or you can switch back and forth once you have that cloned. And now what I want to do is add Regionizer. When you click on Regionizer, it's probably going to pop up here in the center, but I keep it docked up over here on the left, just like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is go back to our instructions and make sure I'm not skipping anything. So sorry, I kind of skipped around, and we'll call that Not Jeopardy. Alright. Okay, so I've already set up Regionizer, set up the font, we've cloned it, and we've switched branches. So that's all we've done. So now we need to add some NuGet packages. So what I'm going to do is in Solution Explorer, manage NuGet packages. And we're going to do two. The first is DataJuggler.Blazor.Components. I already have it in my recent list, but if you don't, go to Browse. Sorry, wrong tab. I'm going to install this. I accept. This is already on the master branch, but the tutorial branch is totally separate, so you have to install it. And if you're ever stuck, you can look over at the master branch. It has everything working. Alright, install. And that installed PixelDatabase, and that's what we use to write on the images. And I'll show you how easy that is here in just a minute. Okay, so now we have everything set up. What we need to do next is, if you look at our, oops, wrong part, go to home.razor under Components, Pages. We have a home.razor, and this is just like the regular brand new Blazor app. What we're going to do though is, except for the background is already set through CSS. And what we're going to do is coming over here. Oh, we need to do a couple of steps. Sorry, I forgot. We need to add Blazor-styled. So I'm going to set up Program.C#. If you come over here, you need to, right below this, just put using. Oh, yeah, I just copied it to my keyboard. And then right down here, builder.services.add Blazor styled. And just put register, something like that. Okay, so we got that. We can go ahead and close this. And now we need to set up our CSS and JavaScript references. And I'll show you how to do that. Go back here. if you copy this right here, this is the link to in the NuGet package, DataJuggler.Blazor.Components.css, and I'll put a link to that in the video description. That's a really cool CSS class that I use every day, and all these components do also. So back over here in our project, I'm going to go to App.razor, and right above import map, and that should format all it by itself. And then right here, I'm going to add our JavaScript reference. So go back to this. Okay, and we can go. So now we have, that's everything you have to do to set up DataJuggler.Blazor.Components for a new project, and you learned all that in only 10 minutes so far. Sorry, I'm going kind of slow, but there's a lot to cover here. All right, so now we're ready to actually add the components to our project. So back over on our little GitHub here, we're going to add a couple of using statements. And then now, this is going to add the text box and the image button that says create. Added that. Hit Control Z there. It kind of undoes the formatting that Visual Studio adds. And I know I could have put this all in one copy button, but it's a tutorial, so I'm trying to let you kind of learn how to do this. And the same thing here. Now notice all of these have a bug right now. Parent equals this is not working because the parent page does not implement iBlazor component parent, and the click handler here does not work because that method does not exist, but we're going to create that now. Now this is where the stuff gets cool that I wanted to show you about what Regionizer can do. It's kind of weird. Regionizer is a .NET Framework 4.8 project because you have to be for Visual Studio packages, but yet I code generate Blazor markup. So we're going to first come over here to our class. I can just go here and say view code. Why am I not getting view code? Oh, there is no code yet. That's why. Aha. Okay, computers do what you tell it. Alright, so we're going to say, first we're going to do add class home.razor.c#. Okay, and you'll notice the little squiggly line there. That's because home is the same name as the component, so you have to add the word partial. And now this is where Regionizer gets cool. So we're going to click Format Document, and that just formats your document into some using statements. I copied a little comment here. You can type them in whatever you want. It's just an optional description for this class. And next, we're going to copy this right here. And this is the supported OS platforms, and that's for the download button. Only works on there. You'll notice it adds this, and I'm just going to move that into here. I could just left it, but that's okay. Alright, so now what we're going to do is back here, we got some more using statements to add, and it's going to also have that, so I could have just left that off for a second. Alright, so that's all the using statements we're going to need. And now we're going to do, this is the part that gets kind of magical. So first we're going to click the iBlazor component parent button. So here we are. This class does not implement any interfaces. We're going to click iBlazor component parent. Now you'll notice some of these got it turned black because now they're being used. But you now will see we have this, which gives us a few different things. But the biggest thing it's going to give us is the register method, and I'll show you that here in a second. This is where it's also going to get cool. Now we don't need the events region, so I'm going to get rid of it. Now we're going to come over here, click on wire up components. It's magic because it is, and boom. Now what that just did was it created 4 private variables. It also created 4 properties. And for each property, it created a has property, such as has blue image, just a faster way of typing for null. You don't have to, you don't want to refer to it, but it creates all that by hand. But the biggest thing it did is the register method. So you'll notice for each component that they have that parent equals this. Each component says, hi parent, I need to register with you, and this is how the parent the child knows who the parent is through that property, and that's how this object knows about the components. And here we store each component. Now, I will tell you, don't put any custom code in this method, because if you do and you click this button again, it's going to erase everything in this method and recreate it. So if you do put any code, I do create a backup of that file. If you ever lose any real important code in the same folder, it'll just be called filename.backup, but don't modify this. There's other places you can work with the code. So that is everything you have to do. I am now going to run our project. Oh, we have to add 2 methods. That was the only thing we have left. So if you come down here, you'll notice it created this. That's just showing you all this. Now we're going to create the button clicked method. So we're going to open up our file again, go to Regionizer, add method. Now I want the return type to be void, so I'm just going to click on event and go back to method. And now I'm going to say button clicked. And this is going to add the click handler for the image button. Now we need to add 2 args, and I've already got them typed here to make it go faster. So we'll just paste that in here, and I put it in there because I'm a regionaholic. Hi Corby, except I don't go to meetings. Okay, so now what we are going to do is copy our code for this button click. A whole bunch of code there. It's just going to call one method. And just to show you, let me kind of format that a little better. Alright, now just to show you where that button number comes from, here's the image button. It's got this button number. So if you have more than one on the page, you could also go by text if you wanted to. But I just did it for this. Okay, so now we have our create Jeopardy text. So we're going to create another method. This is going to head. And notice all the methods are in alphabetical order. That's the reason I like Regionizer. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is copy the code, and we're done. So if I come down here, this is we've already created the method, so this is the guts of the method. So if I, close that, we don't need it. If I paste this, and it's probably going to paste not very well, so let me scoot this over. Probably could add some spaces on my copy there. Alright, so I'm going to give you a very quick code review, and then we'll run it and we're done. So sorry it took a little while, but here we get the path to the image. That's the blue image, this blank image is, and then we load a pixel database, and all we do is give it a path, and we don't need a status on the load. That's for web. And then here we search for the font. So if you have other ITC fonts, you might have to add more to that, but I found it easier than just creating a font, but you can if you prefer. And here we take the text and we convert the text into text lines. And a text line is just an object, and the advantage of a text line is it gives us a top. This method here, because the way the image is drawn, it horizontally centers and vertically centers, and that 1080 is the height of the image when we create and that's the line height, and that's the characters per line. So just some numbers, just through trial and error it worked. And this 960 here, it's a 1920 by 1080 image, so that 960 is the midpoint. And then here for each line we just call draw text, and the only other thing is it draws it in white. You could change the color there. And that was my quick demo. Let me know what you think. I'll just run it one last time just to show you it works. And I'll show you one more thing with the, it's still, somehow it switched back. There, okay. Let me close this because I don't like that. I don't know what I just opened there. Alright, and run it just to show you it works, what we just created. Okay, and I'll just say this animal has a really, really long neck. And the answer is, of course, alright, so we're going to download this, and I'll just call this giraffe. And I will show you one thing with the download button. Notice it went away. That's optional. And I'll just show you in here, and this will be the very last thing I show you. There is a property here that says hide on download. If you want that to not happen, just leave that at false, or I think that's false is the default, I think. I just added that as just something to test out the set visible. Alright, well thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of all these, and have a great day.